All right, let's dive in. Today, we are on a quest to uncover a really powerful financial secret. It's a single number, a specific target that if you reach it, can completely change your financial life forever. So what is it? Let's find out. But first, I want you to think about this question for a sec. What if there was one quiet decision you could make today that would fundamentally change every paycheck you earn from this point forward? We're not talking about some crazy high-risk bet or a get-rich-quick scheme. No, this is about one steady move that puts your money on a totally different path, where every dollar you have starts secretly recruiting new dollars. And the force behind all of this? Well, we're going to call it the compounding snowball. I want you to think of this as your silent financial partner, the one who does all the heavy lifting while you're busy living your life. So what even is compounding? It's actually beautifully simple. Just picture yourself at the top of a big snowy hill with a tiny little snowball. You give it a push. At first, it's nothing, but as it rolls, it picks up more snow, getting a little bigger. And here's the magic. Those new layers of snow start picking up their own new layers. That quiet, relentless chain reaction, that's compounding. And your money, it can do the exact same thing. This is exactly why we call it a quiet partner. Unlike being a landlord with late-night calls about a broken toilet or the sheer stress of watching meme coins go up and down like a roller coaster or even grinding away for endless evenings on a side hustle, compounding just works. It's on the job for you 24/7, whether you're cooking dinner, reading a book, or fast asleep. And that brings us to the most critical piece of this whole puzzle. And here's a hint. It isn't about how much money you start with. Nope. The real secret weapon, the magic lever that you have total control over, is time. Okay, let's make this super real. $1 million is a goal a lot of people have, right? So let's work backward. If you wanted to hit that magic number and you got an 8% return, which, by the way, is right around the historical average for the stock market, how much cash would you need to start with? Any guesses? Well, if your timeline is 20 years, the math says you'd need to start with about $241,000. And let's be real, for most of us, that's a huge mountain to climb. That number feels almost impossible. But watch what happens when we pull that lever of time. Let's just add 10 more years to our timeline. That's it. Just give that snowball a little more hill to roll down. Suddenly, the starting amount you need plummets to just $100,000. I mean, let that sink in. That extra decade cut the price of admission by more than half. You didn't have to work any harder. You didn't have to save another dime. All you did was add patience. Time. Time is the ultimate multiplier. Now, of course, not all investments are created equal. They don't grow at the same speed. So to keep this grounded in the real world, let's imagine there are 4 different growth lanes you could choose to drive in. So check this out. If you're in the slow lane, chugging along at a 4% return, you'd need around $286,000 to hit that million in 30 years. Okay, move over to the balance lane at 6%, and that number drops to $165,000. Better. Then we hit that market pace lane at 8%, and there's our number, $100,000. But look at the fast lane. At a 10% return, you'd only need about $57,000 to get started. The difference just a couple of percentage points makes over time is just staggering. And here's the hidden power baked into those numbers. Did you see the pattern? Every time you jump up by just 2% in your annual return, you pretty much slice the starting cash you need in half. That is a wild and incredibly powerful concept. But here comes the twist, and honestly, this might be the most important rule in this whole explainer. The single most powerful factor in all of this is not the growth rate. It's not about being a genius and finding the perfect investment. It's your discipline. It is your simple, boring resolve to just leave the money alone and let the snowball do its thing. So after looking at all the different lanes, the different rates, and the incredible power of time, we finally arrive at our target, the treasure we've been looking for. This is the number that's big enough to make a real difference, but still small enough to actually be within your reach. We're zoning in on the specific 6-figure goal because it's kind of the sweet spot. It's the point where the growth starts to get so noticeable that it keeps you motivated, but it's absolutely 100% achievable for a normal person who just has a clear plan. That target is $100,000.
This is the size where the snowball really starts to pick up its own momentum. It's where gravity takes over and your initial hard work transforms into this self-sustaining financial force. So what does this 100 grand treasure actually do for you? Well, let's say you get a modest 6% return. In the first year alone, that snowball earns you about $6,000. By year 10, it's earning you $9,000 annually. And by year 20, it's spitting out $16,000 a year, all by itself. I mean, at that point, your money is literally saving more each year than a lot of people are able to. But, and this is a huge but, there's a catch. You have to reinvest those earnings. Think of every single dollar your money earns as a brand new worker that you just hired. If you take that money out and let it sit in cash, you're leaving your new workers on the sidelines doing nothing. You gotta put them back to work. That's how you really unleash this compounding engine. Okay, so naming the number, that was the easy part. The real prize is having the map to actually get there. So let's get into the final and most actionable part of our journey. And you know what? Reaching this goal is probably more possible than you think. If you can manage to put away $850 a month, you could hit it in about 8 years. If $500 is more your speed, you'll be there in 12. And even if you can only swing $250 a month, you can still reach the goal. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon with a very, very clear finish line. Let's just bust a couple of final myths that stop people cold. First, you absolutely do not need to be some stock-picking genius. For most people, a single, simple, low-cost index fund is all you'll ever need. Second, you do not need to check your account every single day. In fact, that's probably a terrible idea. Looking too often just feeds anxiety and can trick you into making bad decisions. A quick peek once a quarter, that's more than enough. So what's the game plan? What do you do tomorrow? It really boils down to 3 simple moves. Step 1, automate your savings. Pay yourself first automatically before you even have a chance to miss the money. Step 2, look for ways to raise your income, a new skill, a small side project, and point every extra dollar you make directly at your snowball. And step 3, be ruthless about slicing expenses that bring you zero joy. That streaming service you forgot you had, the daily coffee you don't even like, put that cash to work instead. As we wrap up, just remember this. This whole thing, it's not financial wizardry. It isn't magic. It's simple math, but it's math that's supercharged by one very human and sometimes very difficult quality: patience. You know, the sooner you start, the smaller the push you need to give that snowball. You don't need a rich family or a fancy degree. You just need a starting point, the discipline to leave it alone, and the patience to let time work its magic. So really, the only question left is, when are you going to start rolling yours?